What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Started to go live yesterday, got interrupted, didn't get to finish the stream, but we got some initial thoughts out. I mean, it was good to hear from you guys, and I really want to start this video out first by talking about the debate, just the results. You know, I told you guys my opinion was that Yang did okay for the amount of time he was given, but I really felt like Pete Buttigieg won. And let's be clear, when I say that I feel like somebody won, I'm not necessarily saying I'm gonna vote for them, I'm changing my opinion. No. I'll tell you if I'm changing my opinion. When I tell you I feel like he won, I feel like people are gonna hear his responses and those are gonna resonate him. I want to start off by taking a look at some polling results, which basically confirms my suspicion, which was that Pete Buttigieg won. And the number that I'm gonna use to really qualify that is if you look at how the race changed based on the pre-debate versus the post-debate movement between candidates. Share of respondents who were considering voting for each candidate, he went from 25.6 to 31.9. That gives him the largest gap between the two as far as gain or loss. Yang moved very marginally. I think he went from 9.5 to 10.3. Obviously, these are just polls. There's nothing is exact. And I think this is a great way to really get into today's video, which is on this particular article that I found, which is criticizing Andrew Yang's responses. Now, I know a lot of people are very positive about the debate. I feel like his responses were fine, but just because someone gives you a good response and people are blinded into thinking that it's a good response, it does not mean it's the best response possible. And as somebody who has always told you guys I'm objective, and I've criticized Andrew right here on this channel, and I looked up this particular article, I looked up this information, and I was really looking forward to debunking this article, but sadly, I'm not able to, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it just means there's an opportunity for growth, and there's definitely something that can be gained from this particular response. Why Andrew Yang's UBI solution to the cost of childcare is not as good as it sounds. Now, this is responding directly to a debate question. I'm gonna let you guys hear Andrew Yang. I think this is his second response to the debate. I want you to hear the response because I know you guys are gonna feel positively about it, as did I.
We now focus on an issue facing many Americans, childcare and paid family leave. Here in Georgia, the average price of infant daycare can be as much as $8,500 per child per year. That's more than in-state tuition at a four-year public college in Georgia. Mr. Yang, what would you do as president to ease that financial burden?
There are only two countries in the world that don't have paid family leave for new moms, the United States of America and Papua New Guinea. That is the entire list, and we need to get off this list as soon as possible. I would pass paid family leave as one of the first things we do. I have two kids myself who are 4 and 7, one of whom is autistic and has special needs, and it's breaking families' backs. We need to start supporting our kids and families from the beginning, because by the time they're showing up to pre-K and kindergarten, in many cases they're already years behind. Studies have shown that 2/3 of our kids' educational outcomes are determined by what's happening to them at home. This is stress levels, number of words read to them as children, type of neighborhood, whether a parent has time to spend with them. So we need to have a freedom dividend in place from day one, $1,000 a month for every American adult, which would put, in many cases, $2,000 a month into families' pockets so that they can either pay for childcare or, if they want, stay home with the child. We should not be pushing everyone to leave the home and go to the workforce. Many parents see that trade-off and say if they leave the home and work, they're going to be spending all the money on childcare anyway. In many cases, it would be better if the parent stays home with the child.
Thank you, Mr. Yang.
Now, like I said, my initial response was fairly good answer. I had no complaints. I came across this article, which was, I guess, from Fast Company, and this is from, who is this guy? This gal, my apologies, basically did what I usually do, right? Which is I go in here, I listen to a response, or I read an article or whatever, and then I go and I dig into it and I find the reality behind that, you know what I mean? So when I got to this one, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm about to slice and dice this one up real quick too, but I ran into a brick wall. And it'll give you some context. In the last 20 years of presidential debates, there have been more than 4,000 questions, but only 4 have been about paid leave, and a mere 2 have been about childcare. This is according to Time Up's CEO, Tina Chen, from her organization's own analysis. That changed tonight when the first all-women panel of debate moderators asked the Democratic candidates about both paid family leave and childcare. Most, if not all, of the candidates on stage support paid family leave, a stance that is nearly universally popular with Americans. over 80% believe there should be some form of paid family leave, according to Pew. So when the question was first directed at Andrew Yang, it was no surprise that he supported the idea of paid family leave, although his misstep when he applied it only to be for new moms. Again, when I initially heard the response, I was very excited about it. I thought he did good, but she pointed out a very good point, and that is that he only applied it to new moms. And technically, that is a weakness, because as I started to investigate this, I realized something that I did not know, which is that quite a few people on stage are actually supporting a far more robust program to address this particular concern. These are the candidates that support universal childcare, and it is not listed on Andrew Yang's platform, okay? It's not there, and in this particular case, I could not narrow down why it was not. Is childcare a blind spot for Andrew Yang? I don't know. This is gonna be like up to you guys, is your opinion. There's quite a few people, okay? We got Elizabeth Warren, obviously, you know Bernie's down if she's down, Harris, O'Rourke at the time, and Eric Swalwell and Klobuchar are all supporting universal childcare. Then you have some people supporting tax credits for childcare. And I will mention this. Yang does say that he supports tax credits for childcare, but his current policy is not, it's not thorough enough for me to have the information that I would need to be able to refute something like this. As a result, it makes it difficult for me to make a video and say, oh no, this lady's totally wrong. So I can't say that at this time. Perhaps most problematic but easily overlooked statement that Yang made about his UBI solution to the cost of childcare was the suggestion that a parent could take that money, quit their job to stay at home with their child instead. First, $1,000 a month equals a little over $6 an hour for 40 hours a week, or for a 40-hour week, and therefore wouldn't replace even a minimum wage worker's full-time salary. Second, because childcare falls overwhelmingly on women because women make an average of around 20 to 30% less than men, the likelihood that if one parent quit their job to stay at home with their kids, it would be a mother. Leaving workforce for even 1 year impacts a person's retirement assets and earning potential to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars over a working lifetime. Center for American Progress calculator, blah, blah, blah. The average number of children in an American family is like 1.9. I think, is it, or 1.9 as of 2018. So essentially 2. To even start off saying UBI is the answer doesn't really work mathematically. Okay? But Yang does have some provisions in here. Like I said, he starts out, he talks about UBI, that's fine. Then he gets in here into, he talks about paid family leave specifically, which is only really applying to newborn children, I guess, I assume adoption as well. The problem is, the question is about childcare. Childcare lasts beyond that initial time in which a child comes into your life. He doesn't really address childcare, but the important thing, and mostly what I really want you to think the positive of this, is that he skated out of this question. If somebody had interrupted and said, wait a minute, why aren't you supporting universal childcare? Msnbc would have loved that. He used data, he used humor, and as a result, he got out of a tough situation. His paid family leave, yes, that would address the problem that he was trying to address, but it doesn't really address all of childcare. What he would probably want to include, since we're talking about childcare in general, is this early education for all. Education starts too late. It shows that there are massive benefits to offering pre-K options to children throughout their lives, especially from those from low-income homes. It also increases sociability and relieves the financial burden of finding daycare for families who struggle. And I was just thinking, this is what happens when you have so many policies. Sometimes it's hard to recall these things quickly. He probably would have wanted to throw this in as well. It's gonna start children in school when they're 3 and 4. So pre-K and childhood education has been proven to get kids off to a better start. It also relieves families from having to find a way to pay for daycare for their children when they're 3 and 4. Other countries are investing in it, including China. We need to as well. So direct the Department of Education to work with states to create a plan for universal pre-K. Provide loan forgiveness for education majors who volunteer at places to provide pre-K education. So there is that opportunity for Yang to throw that information in to make his response sound more robust. No one saw this, you know what I mean? This is just me as a critical eye looking for any little nuance in his responses. This didn't pop out at me when I heard it. I wasn't like, oh no, he missed this. But upon doing additional research into it, I see where there was an opportunity. So he has this right here, increased assistance for single parents. This is what I was talking about as far as he needs to further, explain these ideas. So he's got all of this additional. As president, I will mandatory family and maternity leave for full-time employees, tax breaks for child care services, which is what I was saying. He doesn't have this fully laid out. Also, increased federal funding to pre-K programs, creation of responsibility sharing networks, allowing single parents to work with each other for child care and other responsibilities, and allowing these children to socialize with other children. It's a brilliant idea, but without additional explanation, I can't tout that. Know that Warren and Sanders were even running on this. This was even included in their policy. So, like I said, it didn't occur to me. If someone's looking for this particular information, sure, but I don't know how many people are like, if I'm not voting for somebody if they don't have a universal child care. Initiate a campaign to assist single mothers and the national recruitment drive for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America for male volunteers to spend time with children of single mothers who would like a positive male role model. The waiting list for little boys looking for a big brother is twice as long as the waiting list for little girls. And that, again, that sounds fantastic. The answer was good, but using a little bit of the information that I just talked about, it could have been a little bit better. I'm just letting you guys know so you are aware. If you're having that conversation out in the real world and someone brings up universal child care, as of today, Yang is not specifically addressing that. And I don't think that anything that he's really saying here is a counter to that. Like that whole gap between the first year of a child, between 9 months and 3 years old, what are we gonna do for that? I just wanna know what you guys think. Is childcare a blind spot for Andrew Yang? Yes or no? You let me know why. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.